Warrant. Okay, it's Search Warrant, and we're live. You can listen to us on Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, any other place you can find your podcast to include audio, Spotify, iHeart, all those platforms. But who do we have as co-host today? We have Detective Jake Jacobs from Philadelphia Homicide and Officer Involved Shooting Unit. Jake, how you doing?
Hey, John. And
we've got
search warrant. Don't forget search warrant.
yeah. Thank you. And we have veteran NCIS Special Agent Greg Highlands, who has become an American citizen. Apparently, he was a citizen of Venezuela until just a few minutes ago, right?
I just woke up and here I was.
Yeah.
Don't go to the Philadelphia airport. Larry Krasner's there with ICE.
Oh.
Yeah, I saw him giving a speech this morning.
No, he did it yesterday, but he's an idiot. But so we won't give him the publicity that he's so dearly wanting.
Yeah. And I'm John Snedden, a veteran NCIS Special Agent. And we're trying to bring you special guests that are fascinating. And this one is, in fact, fascinating. Dr. Judith Mikovits. She's had a round with Fauci and the Bureau, who none of us necessarily love. So we'll see what develops. Bill, could you bring Dr. Judith up?
Not Judith,
Yes.
Judy.
Judy, I'm sorry.
Sorry, my mother's middle name was Judith. My name is.
And you're from California, right?
I'm currently living in California. I married my husband, David Nolde, October 7th, 2000. I left the National Cancer Institute, where I led the Lab of Antiviral Drug Mechanism Director of the NCI. It's not the NCIS, Lab of Antiviral Drug Mechanisms, May 11th, 2001. So I've been here in Ventura. My mother was born and raised at 417 Constitution Avenue Northeast in Washington, D.C., where she was the valedictorian of Eastern High School in 1955. I was born where my dad was born, which is Flint, Michigan. My dad, John L. Mikovits Jr., is an amazing man, but he's 95 on April 14th, to say.
Wow.
And a hero in this country. And a hero. He's the first person to bring Nissan manufacturing to American soil, just outside of Nashville. Why? There are 3 highways that intersect right there. So you could always get the parts no matter what they do.
Did you say Nashville?
Absolutely, I did.
Well, Greg is coming while I'm coming from Western New York. And Detective Jake Jacobs is coming from an undisclosed location in the mid-Atlantic, close to Maryland. I'm not giving too much away, right, Jake?
No, you're not giving too much away. I'm just dodging everyone so I don't end up,
Right on the beach somewhere.
I'm dodging the man.
Right, Greg. After having, I guess, life comes at you fast. He was a Venezuelan citizen. Now he's U.S. citizen. Now he lives in Nashville. So he lives in Nashville, actually. I'm joking about the Venezuela part of that, obviously.
Thank you.
He's been American since he landed on the planet. But he lives in Nashville, near Nashville, Tennessee. So that kind of
I'll be there in a
encompasses
couple
that.
weeks. Of course, I'm not going to miss my dad's 95th birthday. I'll be
Sure.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does he live in Nashville proper?
I don't want to get you killed, so I don't want to tell you. No, he lives about 60 miles, cute little town. They have a KFC, cute little town outside of Nashville. So it's not Franklin. It's anyway, I'll tell you later. But no, my dad doesn't live in Nashville proper. It's about an hour drive.
Right. Oh, good.
But he actually did put Nissan in Smyrna and did live in Nashville proper a long time ago.
Now, did he do Nissan when they were Datsun or after they became Nissan?
He brought them here. He brought them here. Remember our U.S. Postal Director? I forgot his name this second. Marvin Runyon. Go to my house. Come visit me, Greg, and we'll go see what's on my dad's wall. It's great for this country. But anyway.
Sounds great.
Well, he can.
He's an engineer. He's an inventor. I was born till I was 10. I was in Flint, Michigan. He was the protege to Jean DeLorean. So my dad.
Wow.
My dad can build a car, a spaceship. Company called Nortron. He does everything in palindrome. So you know where I get my little DNA games from, at least in part. You mess with me.
Between that and your valedictorian mom, so.
Yeah, my brilliant Austrian, Hungarian father, and in fact, I never knew my grandfather to work, meaning he was always retired. He worked for Buick there in Bay City, Michigan, and he invented the automatic windshield wiper. So these guys think of how to make your life easier. And my dad did the Camaro, the Vega. You remember, put the engine in the front of the car so they don't blow up. Fool, use the light aluminum, castings, get more power. He's a piano player. He debuted with the Detroit Symphony when he was 5 years old on a piano. That man can play a piano.
Oh my God.
I don't do any of that.
Unbelievable.
And I'm the wrong kind of doctor, is what he said when I got my PhD.
Doctor, what for people interested, what is your specialty, medically speaking?
You don't have a specialty because medicine is not science. I have a philosophy degree. Medicine is not science. I'm a scientist. I don't have a medical degree. My philosophy degree I got in November. I defended my PhD thesis at George Washington University Department of Biochemistry and Molecular Biology. I defended that on November 14th, 1991, and showed you how to keep your innate immune system healthy so that Magic Johnson could be living with the AIDS virus, as the cover of Time magazine said, November 7th, 1991, and never get the disease AIDS. All that PhD thesis committee. Oh, and when you hear what they did, because how could Magic Johnson have HIV if he wasn't a gay man, an IV drug user, or a prostitute? Oh, because it was injected in every hepatitis B vaccine. Because Luc Montagnier didn't isolate HIV, he isolated LAV, lymphadenopathy virus. This is and always was your National Cancer Institute, folks, since about 1963, maybe a little earlier. I'll show you a couple of books over here. But the FDA has nothing to do with the FD&C Act, the Food, Drug, and Cosmetics. That's its administration. Yeah, so when you see when you see what this PhD did to make sure at the molecular level, doesn't matter that HIV doesn't exist. It was injected in every hepatitis B shot. If you run up to the top of that screen under learn, and you go look for a presentation, let's see if there are any historical documents. Go under more, and let's see. Dr. Judy's book club is a good one. I do that at nights. But under more, you're going to see presentations. And every presentation, I guess if you just search in the search bar for three-headed eagle, the number three-headed eagle on that website. If you can't find it, I'll just, the video clips, the transcripts right there. Learn to negotiate that website, and you're going to see all the facts of everything they've done to create vaccine AIDS, which is vaccine-acquired immune deficiencies. Yeah, see all the talks all the way back to 2016, 2028.
Yes.
National Heart Federation, all of these, every single talk I've ever given, they just say those are the important ones. But we were recently in Venice, Florida, and in Long Island, where some of the people just heard of me. I was there with Ivan Rakelin and talking about Tina Peters and Stuart Rhodes and other people. I don't know how to find three-headed eagle, but
are there a lot of people that are misinterpreting?
There's the books. And take a look at those books. Just sit right there. Not only misinterpreting, your government knew. In 2011 is COVID, folks. Every shot after 2009 was a COVID shot. Hear me. And that's what the first book. This is the wrong book cover. This is 2017. I wrote that book in 2014. Why do you think President Trump took those pardons back to 14? Because it's going to become, and the book is called The Case Against the Mask. Let's see if we can find Plague. Click on Plague, and I'll show you that original book cover of Plague, that up at my books. I don't know why they won't show you that. But that's not the cover. And the criminal, I'm going to call him criminal, Skyhorse Publishing. Ken Heckenlively was my lawyer. Because when I got kidnapped and held in a Ventura County jail, all you have to do is listen, and that's the wrong book. This was they made it into a paperback because the cover of the book was from a program called the INIP, the National Institute of Aging, and the National Institute of National Cancer Institute got together, two principal investigators, and then they took a big group of patients that I gave them when I co-founded a neuroimmune institute. And you're going to get to Harry Reid, and you're going to get to a little Ponzi scheme from. It's worse than that. It was a murder ring by Tony Fauci, and basically what I just did was open my file cabinet drawer to show you the pictures that were the covers of that book, because everything is in Rob McCoy's office here at Rob McCoy's church here, Godspeak Church. In this office, when we finally rescued the material, when you hear ending Plague, and I say hear them, listen to the audibles, because what was in that microscope, a green and black cover of our real book, not the one. So Skyhorse Publishing, I'm not sure why, and led by Kent Heckenlively, my lawyer. When I got ransomed out of jail November 22nd, 2011, and dumped into a parking lot when they failed to Epstein me in the suicide watch. Just ask Sheriff Dean. I got the emails right behind me, every email. The hard drives gave Trump and Kennedy by way of the hard drives that I gave Trump and Kennedy by way of, for Trump, it was by way of General Flynn. And I handed this to Tony Lyons of Skyhorse Publishing on February 19th at the 1-year anniversary of the confirmation of Bobby Kennedy, because last time I talked to him a couple of years ago, he said, Judy, we can't bring in the crazies. And that's the problem. If you don't know who did this and you use terms like COVID, long COVID, or stage 4 cancer, shall I just say they didn't care if they killed Kennedy or Castro first with their little CLL virus, a little variant that I actually discovered, isolated, and showed it was associated with chronic lymphocytic leukemia within a month of my job directing the National Cancer Institute's lab of antiviral drug mechanism. Go online and look for Epoch Times, Joshua Phillips, April 7th, 2020. So Plague of Corruption publishes, started writing it in 14. It publishes. They held it. Why? Because Bobby was writing the forward. And so I was worried I was going to get killed. And so I was on a train back from the Truth About Cancer in Anaheim. Oh, the happiest place in the world is the highest level of breast cancer, folks. You want to know what they're shooting through the sky and the frequency. Anyway, but so I come back from the meeting where the talk that I gave is called Persecution and Cover-Up. And it's the first chapter of my half of the book, Ending Plague, in detail, but that should also be under important presentations. October 12th, 2019, Persecution and Cover-Up. And you will see what your scientific journals, this ain't pharma, folks, it's HHS, because President Reagan wasn't a fool after he came in to reduce the size of the federal government and was somehow almost assassinated outside of George Washington University, where I went to graduate school, molecular biology. Okay, so he's March 30th, 1981. March 30th, 1981. So when the liability from the DTP shots, diphtheria, tetanus, and pertussis, and I didn't say acellular, I didn't say remove the RNA, DNA, and protein, the mRNA. No, they didn't clean it up at all. They just injected it into your most vulnerable. They knew exactly what they did. And when ACT UP with AIDS, with Magic Johnson, it was 1 million Americans. He's not a gay man, an IV drug user, or a prostitute. You were experimenting on your best and your brightest. And Deborah Birx and Robert Redfield, those criminals should be in jail too. They did it to the military in 1992. They injected them with Ebola. I made the cell line that produces the pathogenic Ebola versus the non-pathogenic. I can tell you the difference. That's what a scientist does. Science, it's fact. It's not just like you said earlier when we opened the shows that you talk fact. You know, the reason why Bobby, he doesn't necessarily love me. He said, Judy, I can't do the crazies. But you know, he all he does is say, show me the paper, show me the data. There's no such thing as peer-reviewed science. That's medicine. That's a cult called scientism. But God has no peers. My undergraduate degree, University of Virginia, Thomas Jefferson, our founding father. Thomas Jefferson was our scientist. Benjamin Rush was a physician. They're not the same thing. And the doctor just smears the lines everywhere. So in 1992, but before 1992, early 90s, you didn't have a PhD. You weren't on a scientific paper. Tony Fauci didn't author anything, and neither did Peter McCullough or Robert Malone or anybody else, because you don't have PhDs. And all you have to do is get them to come to Jesus and ask, who's your daddy? And that's what I said to Robert Malone when he confessed a few years ago. Oh yeah, what did you really do, Robert Malone? What happened to those data that when I was fired on September 30th, 2011, Notice I was jailed on November 18th. What happened on November 8th? What happened on November 8th? Oh, Hillary Clinton stood in the criminal center of the NIH. You'll see that picture if you search my app. Go to it, November 8th, and what she told you she was going to do and who was standing next to her. And you'll see exactly who you have to criminally charge. And it's simple. It's not pharma. When all liability was removed from pharma, Ronald Reagan did the 1986 Act, which said that there will always be injury. Someone will always die from every medical product. And we knew who it was, the blacks, the poor kids eating glyphosate. It's environmental everything. Does it mean the virus didn't exist? No, but Magic Johnson didn't get AIDS, did he? Living with the AIDS virus, it's all a lie. SARS-CoV-2 was injected in every polio vaccine since 2004 and in every flu shot. And who did it hurt? Nobody. Oh, did you test positive if you used the wrong test? What test did Magic Johnson use? An antibody test. What wouldn't they give you? You can see, but we all did it. I mean, I didn't do it, but we all stayed home. We all let them put those towers up, take them down now. Now, every one of them. We all let them. We all walk in that grocery store where they're shooting every kind of toxin. And Trump, Kennedy have told you, not one vaccine is safe. Ron Johnson is a hero. They're lying in front of them, and the American people don't know it. Because the NIAID is not the National Cancer Institute. So why would one human being on the planet, or at least in the United States of America, think I ever worked for Fauci? No, I've seen him 3 times in my life because Fort Detrick is 50 miles from Bethesda. And every time I told him what he could do to himself that was anatomically impossible, when he tried to bully this 25-year-old kid into letting him capture me like Robert Malone and everybody else. Oh, yeah, you won't have a living. And I said, no, I'll spend the rest of my life making sure you're, sorry, I don't say that anymore. Making sure, and that's what I've done. I shout it from the rooftops. Read the email I wrote to the head of the National Heart and Blood and Lung Institute on August 29, 2011, and I didn't say 14. And I wasn't jailed until November, was I? And then I was fired standing on the street by Harvey Whittemore. Who's Harvey Whittemore? Convicted felon. Oh, Harry Reid was never legally elected. Well, hey, the FBI. We showed the FBI sitting in my lawyer David Folan's office in 2013. We showed the FBI everything in this desk drawer. and literally set it in front of him. Dr. Rossetti, my mentor, a hero, Francis Rossetti, PhD, showed him the notebooks I supposedly stole. The FBI agent went through every page of it. And the only question my lawyer asked him was, who owns that? And he said, I don't know, whoever's handwriting it is. Well, I'm not free yet. My name is Noldy. Dr. Judy A. Mikovits is the person that did 50 years worth of work for the federal government. So my curriculum vitae, my life's work belongs to the taxpayer. We saved it all from every monoclonal antibody, we have proof of every variant. We can detect every variant. We can put it all on a single bead and heal everybody with a true vaccine. And it'll be a capital M. It'll be manufactured. And it's called peptide T. And who is Candace Pert? And I talk like this because you don't know that. And not one of your doctors know it. Oh, I know the few names I named know it. But when Hillary Clinton stood in the the NIH Clinical Center on November 8, 2011, she was as Secretary of State. And she was talking to 3 people. 3 groups of people. Scientists, packed crowd. That I've been in that auditorium. There's 500 seats in there. Packed crowds of scientists, administrators, State Department, and State Department officials. Notice she didn't say doctors. Oh,
yeah.
They're free of liability since the 1986 Act, and so is pharma. When all liability for anything called vaccine has to have cow blood in it. So by definition, nothing they're doing after our science paper came out, the journal Science, on X, the X means xeno, murine leukemia, and monkey viruses. By the way, in that E6 cell line is Ebola. You know what this really was, folks? It was Ebola, and they didn't get away with it in 14 and 16 because of Christian missionaries from Ventura, California. God certainly has a sense of humor, but all you have to do is find that picture. I can bring it up on the screen, and I can read it to you and exactly what it says. Sorry, I don't handle my website because most of them are all censored, and we can't get to them.
So you're rightfully not fond of Anthony Fauci.
No. I talked to him 3 times, and I told him to go do to himself that was anatomically impossible because I'm not fond of anybody who murders Americans and innocent babies and injects them. Why are you injecting a day-old baby with hepatitis B? It's HIV. So you gave them a lifelong diagnosis of chronic disease, and you just kept hitting those kids over. And anytime you stop and you win. No, I don't talk to Anthony Fauci because he's an effing criminal with a capital F and a capital N.
Yeah.
But so is it your Cancer Institute. Who is Bob Gallo? What is the movie the band played on? That was 1993. Look for it on Netflix. And then why did the Dallas Buyers Club come out in 2013? Because they wanted you to believe a lie. And we're the people that's gonna, I don't care. I'm not fond of anybody who kills little children knowingly and takes science and twists it into a cult called scientism. And then lies to MDs, chiropractors, people who study that hard for that many years. If they thought they were killing their patients, they'd kill them. That's what Trump Kennedy are trying to stop. If they thought they were killing their patients, they'd if they knew how badly, that's Plandemic, plandemic.com, just watch it. The last thing I said to Mickey Willis, and I said it a year before the movie came out, and he didn't understand a word of it because I talked like this for about 10 months. And I didn't know what do you want? Kidnapped into jail at 4 a.m, escaped on a boat the time that Hillary tried to kill me. She stood there and she told you November 8th. Who was my job interview with on November 9th after I was fired from the institute I co-founded and cured long COVID, autism, curative platform? We did the same thing we did at the BRMP in 1983. It's not rocket science. Use your biological response modifiers. Take care of your own immune system. AIDS means acquired immune deficiency. Your cows are GMO, your plants are GMO, your soil's dead. Roundup's not a weed killer, it's a soil killer. You don't have bugs, you don't have bees, you don't have anything that makes anything other than synthetic, manufactured, and that was exactly the goal. So I'm more not fond of those criminals at the National Cancer Institute. This all happened at Fort Detrick, folks, and they experiment on it. They fired me in 1982. It was called a RIF at the time, and that's why I mentioned Ronald Reagan, because he's the one that created the agencies, the contractors. So I would no longer be I'd be basically a hired gun, not working for the National Cancer Institute. You pay us. We work only for you. We don't have any political affiliation. We were told we couldn't declare a political party because you have to get unbiased science. Science is not medicine. But a scientist has to be able to show the data without fear they'll end up jailed, arrested,
right.
killed. That's the point. We all know the good doctors that figure it out, including Timothy Cunningham of the CDC. Oh yeah, a black man from Maryland. He was murdered, found literally murdered because he wouldn't inject somebody with a flu shot in 2019. Hey, but those flu shots were made in Maiden Darby canine kidney cell line. You don't know what that means. It's dog, canine. Because, hey, dogs have coronaviruses and not retroviruses. SARS-CoV-2 is not a coronavirus. Tell that to the beautiful Dr. Richard Urso, who's now dying and has a horrible stroke and probably won't live very much longer. You know, do you think those doctors would have treated the right virus if they weren't lied to about what it was? But it was published in the Journal of Virology by a guy named Moore et al. Ask Grok. I asked Grok. He tells you the truth. Go look at Moore et al. Monkey, mouse, and look at the people who did it. Trump tell you the truth. Not a China virus, folks. China virus, not a Wuhan virus. That was 2015. Where'd they ship that FedEx when it absolutely positively has to be there overnight?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because it's a crime to send it through the post office. And so when they, but you see, if we know our Constitution and we know the law and we have half a brain in our head, it's easy to catch these guys. You know, the lies are straightforward, you know, and it's so easy to see them. That's why I leave all the presentations up. And that's why I'm so grateful to both Trump and Kennedy, because they're true statesmen. You know, like our founding fathers, we pledged our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. And that sacred honor is something I'll never give up. And I know Trump Kennedy. I only say Trump Kennedy. I know Bobby. I've never had the pleasure of meeting Donald Trump, but I know his sons, and I worked through that American hero, General Flynn. And okay, you know, the people that will listen are the people that will listen. Amazing that you don't know any of this until 2026, when all of this is done at your National Cancer Institute since 1983. And I'd say 1980, because how did I get riffed the first time? Reduction in force. And by the way, they fired all the women because I was supposed to manufacture. Oh yeah, I was supposed to manufacture the first ever disease-associated human retrovirus. It caused a deadly T-cell leukemia. And I was supposed to manufacture it in 100-liter, 55-gallon. I think that's about 200-liter. Just think of it like fermentation in beers and making beer and wine. 55-gallon drum and run that to purify the paste, to isolate the virus, purify the paste, the cell debris, everything else in there, in an open air centrifuge called a K centrifuge. Open air centrifuge. And you know what I said? Go yourself. No. But they said, and this was Bob Gallo. This always was the National Cancer Institute. Look, go look. Why did you negotiate? Who owned the diagnostic test? The French or the Americans? It's Ronald Reagan, between President Mitterrand of France and Ronald Reagan. Oh, who owned a diagnostic test? David Martin, pandemic indoctrination, functional forgery of patents. Nobody owns a biological. They have to be recombinant. They're all recombinant. And nobody owns nature. So now what they're doing to you is every TV commercial. When our paper came out in Science, October 8th, 2009, who'd we show that paper to a month before we submitted it? May 6th, we submitted it, 2009, to the journal Science. Why was the reviewer John Coffin the primary reviewer? Who is Jonathan Stoy, UK Wellcome Trust? You know, I throw these out here because when you see this, you'll hear it all. Listen to the books, Plague of Corruption, and Ending Plague. Yeah, I'd start with Ending Plague because that's to tell you guys who the right guys are. It ain't pharma, it's Congress. They never obeyed the 1986 Act. It ain't pharma, it's HHS, because when all liability was removed from MDs. And that's why I told you who was standing in the NIH Criminal Center, because she intended to kill me and I escaped on a boat. I God, sure, I'd go to Nineveh, and I named my husband a Coast Guard hero, veteran. I named our boat Jonah the Whaler. I said, sure, I'll go to San Diego, but I'm going in an unsinkable boat with handsome Coast Guard captain. I had to bribe him with boats and things. I mean, I'm not the person you ever really want to marry. To say the
Well, you know
least.
what's funny? You know, you said that RFK don't do crazy, and what he was talking to you. But when RFK started, you know, we had a couple people on the show, and when RFK first started getting out there, everyone called him crazy. But prior to, and now they're coming around to showing the harms in our foods and things of that nature. A lot of stuff, I'm going to be honest with you, that you just said, I'm going to have to go back honestly and look it up, because I don't know what the hell you were saying, but I'm going to figure out at a later time when I get up to your level.
That's why I just went that way, because it's not about science. You guys know what it's about. You guys know what the FBI is about. Oh, why did we sit there in 13 and talk to the FBI? We filed criminal affidavits. I literally served everybody in the Ninth Circuit from top to bottom. I'll get them to you. I'd love to send you this information. Got a hard drive, I'll mail it. No, I'll FedEx it.
Well, yeah. Well, the point I'm trying to make is, how does someone like Fauci, when you go back, because we know he was there with the HIV stuff way back when, and from what you're saying here, and I think I get your point. How does he get elevated in the Trump administration to his position where he's a household name? Because he wasn't a household name when Magic got HIV. No one really made Fauci a household name. You guys may have known it in your realm, but now Fauci's a household name. And if I'm hearing you correctly, I believe you're saying that the government put him out there, because I always thought that COVID was targeted, because if you remember when they first brought the vaccine out there, they wanted a bunch of minorities. They acted like they were doing them a favor, but they said, hey, take it first. They put it all the COVID vaccines in the quote unquote hood because they didn't want to be racist and things of that nature. So I'm relevant about that. But we had another doctor on here that also talked about, when you mentioned the vaccines, how before, probably when I was first vaccinated, there was only a couple of shots. Now you have, I forgot the number, but it's in the tens in that one single shot. Is that what you're talking about here?
I'm talking about all of it. Exactly. You really did get it. So you answered your own question. You know, go back and look at who were in those pictures. Trump didn't elevate him. He shined a light on it. And then everybody in America could say, wait a minute, because nobody cared about gay men, IV drug users, and prostitutes. And I guarantee you that Magic Johnson was not a gay man, IV drug user, or prostitute. On November 7th, 1991, just go get the Time magazine. Just go and you will see it. And he never got HIV/AIDS. So they had to experiment on their best and their brightest, their military. Who did it? Deborah Birx. Who did it? Robert Redfield. They led the seed. They injected the military with Ebola, and the one that causes insanity, in 1992. And I know, because I wrote the paper, and when I give this talk, usually I say the only bat cave in Reston, Virginia is the CIA. Oh, yeah. Bobby's an environmental lawyer. There's a lot of other things in snake venom other than a little peptide, and the snake needs a fang. Well, you'll hear in Ending Plague, Tony Fauci lied to get his job. He was never, just like Harry Reid was never legally elected. This was always about voter fraud, folks. He should have never been the Senate Majority Leader. And when I show you some of the things in this drawer, it'll blow your mind. I said it on a show last week. Said this office and the drive that I'll send you a copy.
I bet you you have a lot of explosions in that drawer.
It's okay.
Holy shit.
I'm sitting in the umbrella group. My passcode is Solamente and my speed limit is 55. The sheepdogs, if I talk a little bit too loud, they'll come upstairs and make sure I'm okay. We're good. I'm in Godspeed Church.
Oh my God.
So we've been doing this for a long time. I can't tell you how many, just like Pastor Rob will say about, Charlie Kirk, they can't take the truth, so that cowards kill you. And that's what I said in Plandemic. Silence equals death. And my mother used to say, Judy Ann, if you can't find something nice to say, find another way to say it. And she'd pop me in front of the mouth every time I said somebody go fuck. And I'm like, but you say it at home. She said, what you saying here? What you saying? So we're in our living room. Just don't tell Pastor Rob. I said, no, I'm kidding. Because what comes out of the heart. Yeah, what's coming out of my heart right now is the kind of, Jesus wasn't a mamby-pamby wimp. You better not hurt the children, or you throw a millstone around their neck. Down syndrome is vaccine injury. Look at Down syndrome. Down syndrome is vaccine injury. Why'd you kill little Grace? Why'd they murder Grace? Look at the book.
So many people would be interested in knowing that.
Well, so you're going to get that, Bob. You will get that. Everybody has it, and you will get it. And we can cure it too. We don't have to worry about what caused it anymore. And that's the most important thing in this message. That's what Trump is doing. He's throwing a layup, whether you're spiking a volleyball or a basketball, it doesn't matter. Throw it up there. And when you see it, what's a give and go? You guys play basketball? You'll hear this in my book because we talk in sports terms because it's pantomime. We almost always lose our voice. We're censored. I try to put it in those books, and Kent Heckenlively, my attorney, does too, because you have to have something. If you remember the O.J. Simpson trial, Americans are stupid and they have about a 5-minute attention span, if that. It's probably 5 seconds now. And it's like, if the glove don't fit, you must quit. Hey, pop, pop, fizz, fizz. Oh, what a relief it is. So, hey.
No, but you're 100% correct with that.
But that's how Kent Heckenlively writes our books. And that's why, look it up. But first, just go to your Amazon Audible account and get all 3 of those books. And we play a book club. I saw it when he scrolled through there. And you can listen to old book clubs because I will comment. And I will stop it and I'll say, listen, because when you hear it, they will deliberately pronounce names and words in the last book, Ending Plague. That was the first time that Luc Montagnier and Frank Rossetti ever told you exactly what happened in the summer of 1983 when Dowdy Fauci, it's Plandemic, they didn't try to get the paper. They tried to get the isolate. They needed to do a little genetic modification, and they didn't get it from me, and I guarantee you they didn't get it from Frank. But the fun of listening to Ending Plague is, just listen to Ending Plague. How we end it is because I had a really good friend in Frederick, Maryland, black men. Hey, I say about my friend Travis Middleton, you want to get out of jail free card, hire a black man. And I did, Travis Middleton. Watch Plandemic Indoctrination, and you'll see the heroes of the faith, which is what I showed you there. Because
so Frederick, Maryland is where Fort Detrick is, right? Or close?
That's correct. I grew up near it. Yeah, there's all kinds of myths about Fort Detrick. So I don't have the background, never had any placement access, but the legend is that they have a library of one of every virus known to man in that facility. I don't know whether that's true or not.
They do.
Oh my God.
Do. And if you hear the story, before Frank Rossetti was kicked out in 2013, I told you when I sat down with the FBI, he had 2 years after I was jailed. Do not give that man 2 years. He shipped at the government's expense. We got everything. Don't worry about it. We got every one of the viruses. We got every one of the monoclonal antibody cures. And I'm not stupid. I see where the fires are going, especially in California where you don't have water in the fire hydrant. It's 20.
You got Karen Bass, so that's all you need, but go ahead.
No, 2018, it wasn't Karen Bass. That's Ventura. Go look at the Thomas fires in Ventura. This didn't happen in LA. This happened in Ventura. God, God has sense of humor. And It's very interesting because things like going postal. Really think about what 911 was. And 911 was how they got anthrax through and tried to poison the military with anthrax. See, they're killing the military and they're killing the CIA and the diplomats with their shots as well. No, the elderly aren't vulnerable, folks. If you got away with the lesser vaccines, it's just a matter of number. It doesn't matter what's in there. It's all been in there since 1934. First cases of autism in LA, and long COVID, whatever you want to call Lyme disease or ME/CFS, LA, 1934, chapter 5 of plague.
Wow.
And you'll hear it all. Well, they know it. They just burned that part down, but we got it out just in time. I mean, you can't make this up. And I really should have laughed. They're going to kill me.
Dr. Judy, you move at the speed of a Ferrari, and my mind moves at the speed of a pedal car.
Yeah.
So, are you saying? I know I had heard it before back in the day, and I'll tell you where I heard it from. That HIV was created in the labs at Fort Detrick.
Yes, but it wasn't created out of thin air. They stole the LAV virus, the cell lines that made LAV. They literally sent the French Canadian gay airline steward that was supposed to be ground zero. I sat in front of that man in 1980 and isolated HIV from saliva, Bill Clinton. Oh, the condom was no better than the mask. It caused AIDS. Think about it, folks. They were always trying to kill you, and Hillary told you right there on November 8th. I'll text
So what do you think the intent was with creating this virus?
It's not this, it's these. How many? You want me to show you all thousands of them? I own the patents for every variant. What do you think the intent was? It's not that the virus isn't the disease. Don't say COVID, say SARS-CoV-2. SARS-CoV-2 didn't hurt anybody if it was injected in every polio vaccine and every flu shot since 2004 when they made it at Harvard. Women Brigands, AIDS research. Look at the Moore et al. Paper. It's right there on our website. Ask Rock. I asked him last week. Oh, it was manufactured, but it was made out of Vero monkey kidney cell HIV. It was made out of mouse leukemia virus from mice. We have all these mouse facilities imported. So we pick this part and this part. It's not a spike protein. It's a spike lipoprotein and a synthetic lipid nanoparticle. Oh, so viruses are nanomicron is 10 to the minus 6. Nobody knows what a nano is. They just say stuff. They don't know what it means. So yeah, all of these viruses were created well before the 60s. And in the 70s, when we started figuring them out and studying them, and I grew it in, and sent the leaders of PACE down to them so they could weaponize it. No, what they needed to do was change the natural virus where nobody would get a lymphadenopathy virus and gay-related immune deficiency. We can't forget this story or we'll never end it. This is and always was AIDS. And now your problem is it was always infection by injection. It was didn't matter if you injected your cows or your pigs or your soil or your plant. GMO plants are not food. They're deadly. They've destroyed our water, our air, our food supply. And so now you're caught. But it's okay. Just like we have all those viruses at Fort Detrick, we have every natural product. I'm a fermentation chemist. Can't wait to get back there and make some beer. We got all the solutions because they're natural products.
Send me that with the hard drive.
Well, we have them in freezers, but I'll show you what they are. Yeah, they're right there at Fort Detrick. The poisons are there that they created, but the cures are there as well from God's natural product. But you see, you can't patent that. So their goal right now is to get you to go nuts, going to doctors. They're killing you. Stay away. It's all hospital homicide. It always was. It's One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Is the movie. It's because what do psychiatrists? Oh, their whole job is to convince you you're crazy and take your property. I'm not crazy. That's why Bobby.
Wow. Yeah.
And listen to the confirmation hearings of Bobby when you're doing your homework, and listen to the congresswoman from Maryland who was off on his left. And they had a email there that said J.A. Mikovits at Gmail. Well, that wasn't me. That was Harry Reid and Harvey Whittemore. That wasn't my email, and the FBI know that. Well, I kind of read it every now and again just to tell folks we got every one of these emails. Nothing is redacted. And it makes Epstein look like a choir boy, literally and figuratively. And it makes, I'm sorry, your National Cancer Institute, your National Institutes of Health, your National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute. That's who I wrote the email to on August 29th. I said, really? You made one? How many others did you make? Just because those two men, John Coffin, and I said JC, and I said, I don't mean Jesus Christ. And Jonathan Stoy with UK Wellcome Trust. Come on, Trump's showing you this stuff. It's a worldwide problem. It's a global treasonous uprising. These are traitors. They came straight from Germany. I called it a Holocaust, and that's exactly what it is, and it still is, and it never went away. So it's not just across the board genocide. And Pastor Rob taught me this when I was teaching him like this. He said, Judy, and I'm just teaching like this, and he's looking at his phone, and I can't get mad at that man because he's sweet. And I stopped, and I did this, and I thought, am I boring you? But I didn't say that. I just looked at him, and he said, Judy, have you ever seen the bottom of Darwin's, the subtitle of Darwin's thesis? And I'm thinking, okay, the origin of species, we're not a species. All men and women were not a species. There's not different species. We didn't evolve from monkeys, folks. Anyway, so he said, and I'm thinking, by natural selection, it implies God. Because nature is only science. Thomas Jefferson is your scientist. Nature, God's law. I went to Thomas Jefferson School and learned to ferment. I learned to love wine. I learned to love food. I make drugs from plants. It's a fabulous job. And so what can us everyday people do in light of all this happening? Go to my website. We've developed 3 powders. We didn't do it, but people came to me in the last few years and said, Judy, I got this. And I said, show me it hit the pathways. The pathways of protection from poison. So let's make our alliteration be our protector. And so we can go back to nature, natural products. We have a 2004 Botanical Drug Guidance Act. That means if it's botanical and you make it into a recipe, it's a serving size. Either the FDA, it's automatically approved. We hold the patents for that in every variant and have the detection since 2010. So that's what Patrick Song-Chong tried to steal from the America. And you're letting him right now. You let this Chinese guy take 50 years of the National Cancer Institute and act like he just discovered it. Just like Deborah Birx got on CNN, Scarf Lady. Oh, who else was standing on that stage with Trump? What you can do about it is go to our website, therealdrjudy.com, get an education, go listen to these books. And I say listen because they speak in acronyms and science isn't science anymore. Every single paper published that's not a review article, not a meta-analysis, published after 2014 is criminal fraud. That's why the pardon went after 14.
Dr. Judy, we had a comment.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it may be a part of like Greg's question. The comment was, what can everyday people do in light of all this happening? And on the back of that, why did our government decide, and you just used the word traitor or treachery and things of that nature, why did our government decide to kill us? And now that we know that they've decided to kill us for whatever means, how can we respond to Honey West's question? And Greg's question.
Well, I mean, it's simple. Well, there are 3 powders on there, 3 products, 3 powders, one called Cardio Miracle, one called ProImmune, and one called Dulce. Drink a glass of that every day, and you got all the nutrients for the deficiencies you need. We also can go and learn this education. Quit Medicare. Quit. Opt out of Medicare. Opt out of no health insurance. I don't owe my soul to the company store. Nobody can get a self-employment tax in the United States of America. I don't need to pay you to work. So you can learn. The most important thing on the website is learn. You're not learning the science, because this was never about science. This was about politics, and I don't mean many blood-sucking organisms. I mean, we're supposed to be in the streets, police. The word politics comes from police. We're supposed to be out there loving our neighbor as ourselves. Yeah, this stuff, you can drink this, get out of Medicare. They're bankrupting us. They're poisoning your kids. They're castrating your kids. They're giving them Lupron. They're treating prostate cancer that we cured in those patents, curative strategy. It's all right there. The FDA denied us from going through. We had it for Ebola. We showed Merck. We showed everybody. Hey, what the American people do is the American people can say, Bobby, bring back that small company and fund them and let Dr. Judy Mikovits. I asked him, I said, Bobby, I only want one thing, and I'll accept tomorrow to be the director of the National Institute of Acquired Immune Deficiency, NIAID, no such thing as allergy and infectious disease. You were injected by infection and you're trying to get it out. I said, I'll do that tomorrow, and I'll use the same strategy we did in the biologic, and the we is your taxpayer dollars. It will cost you nothing. Not only will drug costs go down, but everything will go down. Can we fix this? Yeah. Bring back the honest people and make the people. There are only 6 people in that picture. Go look at the picture of what Hillary promised you. Get rid of those 6 people and the people that, and just rehash peer-reviewed medical literature. God has no peers. Science isn't medicine. We've got to teach. Education, education, education. Your doctors don't know because they were never taught. Your 8th graders don't know molecular biology. We had a bunch of morons, that means willfully ignorant, walking around saying PCR, and they can't even spell polymerase chain reaction, nor do they know what a polymer is or what a chain reaction is. So we are in ego. We think, oh, I'm holier than thou. I didn't get that shot. Which one since 1934? Do you think your God gave you an immune system? Or do you think you inject a newborn on the first day of life? That talk I gave this morning with Maha Mike, now CNN, go look at Cuomo and Deborah Birx in CNN, where it's like, COVID. We taped it. It's on our website. You can find it right there. No, HIV is to AIDS as SARS-CoV-2 is to COVID. Neither one of them caused the disease. The interventions, and when you used what my PhD thesis said, in 1991. And Frank Rossetti won the 1992 silver medal. What we need to do is go end the Bayh-Dole Act, end the National Vaccine Injury Act of 1986, make everyone liable again, and then forgive anybody who didn't know anything before 2014. Okay, that book was censored. What did you know and when did you know it? You can confess and we can all get along. But
Doctor, I don't know a stronger word than enlightened. I think we've all become enlightened, but by just you talking for 5 minutes, we've got a lot of research to do. We'd love to have you back.
Sure. So
we can tie this down and understand it better, because I think there's a lot of people that are suffering as a result of this.
Yes.
It was political, not medical.
But it wasn't Trump and Kennedy.
Yeah, but
it never was. But if we don't show those people up, then $4 billion in vaccine court. My company, Mikovits and Rossetti Inc., Frank Rossetti and I, from the time I got out of jail, we served in the George Washington University Law Clinic for teaching vaccine injury and compensation for more than a decade. What'd they do? They shut us down. Told Bobby, I'll take that job back too. We can teach.
Yeah. Well, people are standing in line for that.
I'm a professor who can't teach. What? I'm the only one who's qualified to teach molecular biology and biochemistry and vaccine injury law clinic at the George Washington University.
Jesus,
Where I
you
taught
think people be so interested in that? Well, anyway, we've got a
I
break,
just lost
so-
him a couple of weeks ago. The country has to wake up. If you didn't know me then, you can't expect anybody else. You guys are open-minded. You know how deep this rabbit hole is. I'm a gopher digger.
Yes, ma'am. Give us a little time to research this, to include that list of human beings you listed off.
If one of you texts me your email, I'll text. I'll get you the slideshow, or I'll point it out to you. I'll make sure.
Well, we all be interested in seeing that, right?
Okay, just text me
100%.
something, and I'll make sure you get it.
Okay, Doctor, thank you very much. We look forward to having you on again. Jesus,
Yes.
talk about compelling information.
We're gonna
It's,
give you the 2-hour show next time, Doc, because we definitely need the 2 hours.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I usually, unfortunately, I speak with Clay Clark at 11 o'clock every Wednesday. So any day other than Wednesday, because Wednesday's the day I immunize kids. We immunize them. I just give them those 3 powders and a couple of simple drugs and say, go on your way.
Oh,
We
geez.
immunized everybody, and nobody has once, even for Israel trips, the heaviest vaccinated anywhere, nobody's ever gotten sick. So we got this, and that's what we do on Wednesdays up here.
Well, Doctor, thank you. We look forward to having you on again. It's been a experience, and more people should know about it.
Yes.
Okay?
Okay.
We'll reach out and have you on again if you're inclined.
Oh, I'm always inclined. Go Dodgers.
Oh, no. Tell you said that.
Thank you.
You were doing fine. Take care.
Yeah. Thank you.